Hey there. So today we're going to be talking about that competition cooperation. And much of the content from today's lecture comes from Weinberg and Gould's um, Foundations of Sport and Exercise Psychology. If you're watching, you're probably taking this as part of a sports psychology class, sports sociology class, or in this case, at Cumberland University, we combine both of those into psychosocial aspects of movement. So I thought we'd start out with something a little bit different here. We're going to jump right into a self-quiz. Midterm is right around the corner, so I want to see how you're doing with following along with the chapter reading. So not going to be scored in the sense of counting towards a grade or anything like that, but just see how you do with answering a few questions right out of the gate. So first one, according to Weinberg and Gould's chapter 5, which of the following statements regarding competition is true? Is it A, competition has inherently more positive outcomes compared to negative outcomes? B, competition has inherently more negative outcomes compared to positive outcomes? C, competition is not inherently good or bad? Or is it D, competition is inherently good and bad? Take a moment, go ahead and answer that. And then let's move on. We've got a true and false question. So when group processes involve relatively easy tasks, cooperative groups yield better results compared to competitive group structures. Is that true or false? Question number 3. All right. How many stages are there to Martin's competitive process model? Is it 3, 4, 5, or 6? What's the correct answer? And then finally, question number 4. Name 2 of the 3 types of competitive orientations found as part of Gill and Dieter's research using the sport orientation questionnaire. So again, we're asking about the 3 different types of competitive orientations. Try to name 2 out of the 3 of those. So go ahead and pause the video if you need some time to go back and look at any of those questions again. Try to answer them. And here in a moment, we'll just, we'll go ahead and answer those. All right, so for question number 1, we should have come up with the correct answer as C. Competition is not inherently good or bad. We're going to talk a little bit later in the presentation about how competition is neutral. It depends on how the person perceives the situation, whether that leads a person to see competition as a threat and they shut down, or if they surge forward, if it instills something in them and then they respond with an overly aggressive nature. There's a lot of different ways that a person can perceive competition and then the behavioral response. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later today. So question number 2, true or false? The answer is actually false. So what we find is that as task complexity increases, a more cooperative group structure tends to yield or produce better results. And then number 3, what we're looking at, asking about Martin's competitive process model, there's actually 4 stages. The first stage being the objective competitive situation. Stage 2, the subjective competitive situation. In stage 3, we're looking at the response. And then stage 4, the behavioral consequence or the outcome. So the answer should have been B, 4. And then finally, question number 4, name 2 of the 3 types of competitive orientations. So there are 3, and what we're talking about here is competitiveness, win orientation, or goal orientation. So again, the first one being competitiveness, number 2 being win orientation, and then 3, goal orientation. So if you wanted to kind of sort of, I guess, analyze your results, kind of gauge where you're at this point in the semester, we're a few weeks away from the midterm. If you're taking this as part of our course at Cumberland University, you're, like I said, just a few weeks away from midterms. So at this point, I'd say if you weren't able to answer any of those, or even just one, you're probably not completing a lot of the readings. Need to get real busy in the next 3 weeks. Get caught up on the reading, spend a little bit more time before watching the lecture videos, working through the chapters, working through the supplemental readings, and then spend some time with the lecture videos, and then move on to the supplemental materials. If you got 2 of those 4 correct, I guess you're a good guesser, or more realistically, you're probably getting the main points from the readings, and really doing a good job with the material. And then if you got 3 or 4 of those correct, you're definitely on the right track. You're in probably real good shape for moving forward with the midterm exam here in a few weeks. Keep doing what you've been doing.